I thought I had this set recording, but there we go. Now we're recording. Okay. So we've got the amount from the college, the amount from the store, and the $50,450 is from both jobs. So I need to add those together. Good job, Megan. Now I don't have to type it in. 5450 equals X plus 1250 plus 4X. So then we could do a little work. 5X plus 1250 equals 50,450. So 5X equals, someone's going to subtract for me, right? 49,200. And then someone's going to divide for me. 49,200 divided by 5. A little less than 10,000. 90 what? 9840. Okay, so, and that's the amount at the college, so that's what they wanted. Be careful when you're answering with the final answer here, because they might ask, how much did she earn from the store? And then you would need to go back in and figure out what the 4X plus 1250 is equal to. Or they might ask for both. So just be careful on those and make sure you're answering what they wanted. And you're right, and they used C for college instead of X. Either way works, and we got it right. And notice now we're actually up to 50%, so we're doing well on these, and we're not going to have to do too awfully many to get these done. So I think I'll pop out of here unless the next one is significantly different. That one's not. Let's cheat it and submit. Oh, this one sneaked in with some fractions, so I think this is actually probably a good one to practice with. It says 3/5 of the members of the school choir are women, and if there are 24 women, what is the total number of members? So 3/5 of members are women. And let's let M equal the number of members. And I think if I look at my sentence up above, or yeah, it's a sentence, it's just missing a period. 3/5 of the members would be 3/5 of M are women. So equal the number of women, which is 24. So how do I solve that equation? 3/5 of M equals 24. What could I do to get rid of the fractions there? Multiply both sides by 5. Good, Dakota. So 5 times 3/5 is 3, and 3M equals 5 times 24, 120. And then finally divide by 3, so M equals 40 members. Good job. 40. And submit. And it's happy. And we're at 75%, so it jumped us up again significantly. We can continue, we'd probably finish. Okay, I thought I had my phone muted, but obviously I didn't. So you guys can sort out any more of these anywhere else where you guys ran into trouble that you wanted to take a look at the problems. That was the introduction to problem solving. I think I might have also seen some questions. Maybe it was in the percent change or the mixture word problems. Anywhere somebody's stumped where you want to look at problems and do some practice. All right, so this is going to be for me. I'm going to do a little see if we can do this. First thing I'm going to do is stop sharing. We don't need that anymore. And then I'm going to go find me over here, the other me. That is this one. And why is it not letting me? Oh, because I don't have my video on. That's why. Okay, so tell me about that. That looks okay. I'm gonna have to move that up a little bit, but I think it'll work. Okay, fractions and decimals, please. I see that, and Megan dittoed that. Yeah, I'm gonna ask you guys to go ahead and give me problems. And then I'm gonna try something a little bit different. I might need another table or something. I'm gonna try to do these from my whiteboard, my little, I'll be right back whiteboard, I'm already back. But if you guys give me a problem, and I guess if we're gonna pull them from there, I should be able to do this. Let's see. Fractions and decimal coefficients. Okay, I can probably find some. So I'm doing a little move here. I'm just moving my computer so I can see the problems. And then okay, I'm just gonna try this. So can you guys see my whiteboard? Somebody give me a shout out yes if you can.
Yes.
Okay, can you hear me still?
Yeah.
Okay, and so this is kind of an experiment because I haven't really done this yet with students in the class. So we're gonna see if this works better than, we're just gonna kind of decide because we've got options on how I display this. My little whiteboard is not that big and I think I forgot, oh, here's a napkin. My eraser is MIA, so to erase with like a napkin or a paper towel right now. All right, so we're gonna try the first problem I found. And this one is a decimal one, and I don't know if this is gonna relate well to one that you had trouble on, but here it is. It's negative 2.73 times m minus 4 equals negative 6m minus 4.38. So I just pulled one out of here. It's probably not one of the hardest ones. It was just the first one they gave me, but it might get us to sort of what we're looking at. We'll look at a couple of these. And then if you guys hate this, we could try these a different way. I just don't think these are gonna work as easily sort of typing in chat. And the chat is especially difficult, I think, for someone who's on a phone, if my memory serves me correctly. So can you guys read that? Can you see my board well enough or no? Is it too far away?
It's pretty far away.
Yeah, and is it backward? At least it's not backward. Yeah, I don't think I like this. See, and I have a bigger board at my office, but they won't take it off my wall and let me bring it home. It makes me sad.
You could invest in a tripod for it.
Yeah, oh yeah, I absolutely could. Oh no, that would work. Or even a table would probably work, but a tripod would be better because it would get it up higher. But I don't have that right now. So we're gonna try this a little bit differently. And we are going to, let's see, we're gonna come back here. We're gonna unpin that. So that's still there because that's what that is, but we're gonna try this slightly differently. And you guys have that problem handy, and I can get it as well. Oops, I actually meant to do this way. Here, and share content, share my screen. Okay, don't let that panic you. Okay, so you got that? So now you've got a piece of notebook paper. So this is option number 2. Switch to something that's readable. And we'll try it this way. So you guys are gonna, well, actually I can turn around and do it. Negative 2.73 times m minus 4. And actually we're gonna, equals negative 6m minus 4.38. Okay, so that's the problem. Is that better, do you think? This way. So you're not going to see me at the board, but you're going to see everything I write, and I'll still talk. I just won't be like right next to it. So what should we do first? And I need you to either shout it out or you can put it in the chat.
Multiply the negative 273 with the m and 4.
Correct. So that's the distributive property, right? So we're distributing that. So I need to know, and it doesn't like for me to go up into the title. All right, so negative 2.73 m. And then the negative times the negative is going to be positive something. And somebody is going to tell me what 2.73 times 4 is. 8 plus 2.8. 10.92? 92. Okay.
92.
Yep, that
Yeah,
looks
but it's
good.
going to be negative.
Is it going to be negative? Was that a minus in my original problem? Was that a 2.73 times, a negative 2.73 times m minus 4? So
No, it was plus.
Oh, it was plus. I wrote down the problem wrong. It was plus?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. All right, so yes, that means this. Nicely, we can fix that as a minus. And then my right-hand side stayed exactly the same. You can never get the problems right when you write them down wrong, unless you make some other error later. So that looks pretty good. What should we do next? So we distribute it here.
Does it matter if you do the one with the variable or the regular number first?
No, it doesn't really matter. So it's up to you. So you could get all the m's on one side first, or get all the constants on the other side first. It's sort of a preference thing. I'm going to just go ahead with the variable first. I'm going to add 6m to both sides. And now I need to add negative 2.73 to 6. So that's subtraction in my brain, right? 3.27 m minus 10.92 equals negative 4.38. And then the same thing we just did, switch colors here and add 10.92. So at each of these decimal spots, if you want to or need to, you can use a calculator, but keep in mind that what we're doing here is 10.92 minus 4.38. So we're gonna get 12, and that's an 8, a 4, and a 5. 6.54, do you guys agree with me?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm gonna find my chat just in case people are popping in there. So I have 3.27 M equals 6.54, and I think they were really nice to us here because that looks like the one number is double the other number. So 6.54 divided by 3.27 looks like 2 to me. M equals 2. And then we would go back in, flip back out to our work, and we would enter M equals 2. So this is kind of where it's a little easier the other way, because I can keep Alta open there, but I'm in the screen share now, so it's a little tricky to get back to Alta and enter that. I don't think we necessarily need to enter that. Does anybody have another problem that they want to share? Something that way I'll get along the lines of what problems were giving you trouble in this section.
Yeah,
think maybe,
I don't know how to write it on the screen.
okay, if you verbalize it, I'll write it down, and then
Okay.
you can have me fix anything I have wrong.
Okay.
All right, shoot.
I got 3R plus 5
Okay,
over 6,
okay.
and then plus 1, but not the 6. Yep.
But
Equals,
plus 1 like that.
yep. Equals 4R plus 3 over 3.
Oh, good one. Yeah, and this one has fractions instead of decimals,
Right.
and kind of messier because it's got 2 terms in the numerator instead of just 1. So you got a little bit more going on here. But in every fraction problem, the one thing you kind of want to think about is what's the least common denominator. So, and the least common denominator means the lowest number, the least, that all the denominators divide into evenly. And the minimum that you can pick is the biggest denominator.
So would
the
it be
biggest,
6?
it would be 6 because 3 divides evenly into 6. Now, if you had a 4 there instead of a 6, you'd have to use what, 12, because then those would both divide into 12. But this time we get away with 6. And so what we're going to do is we're going to multiply both sides of the equation by 6. So we'll do this in red at first, and then we'll put a little bit more in here. So I'm multiplying the left side by 6. I'm multiplying by the right side by 6. And keep in mind, this is not 6 over 6. This is truly like a 6 over 1. Some students like that over 1 written down there. So we're multiplying the whole thing by 6. Now I'm going to write my terms separately so that I don't miss anything. So my first fraction, it's 6 times 3r plus 5 over 6. Now, what's going to happen to those 6's?
They cancel out.
They're going to cancel out, so they're going to be gone. But then I'm going to have plus a 6 times 1. And then I'm going to have equals 6 times 4r plus 3 over 3. And the 6's don't cancel completely, but 3 divides into 6
Twice.
2 times. So now what I have, and some students don't like to write down the step that I just wrote. They like to jump to this one, and that's fine. But if you need that middle step, make sure you write it. It doesn't take that much space, right? And you want to get the problem right. So 3r plus 5 plus 6 equals 2 times 4r plus 3. And now what we've accomplished, if we do all of our fraction problems this way, what we've accomplished is that we now have an equation that doesn't have fractions. And so we can solve it nicely with the methods that we know from solving equations without fractions. So 3r plus 11 equals 8r plus 6. And I might subtract 8r from both sides to get negative 5r plus 11 equals 6. And then similarly, we'll finish up. So minus 11, minus 11. Looks like r is 1. Oh, somebody get. I kind of cheated there and didn't write my step down, but I divided by negative 5. Negative 5 divided by itself is 1. So r equals 1. You would enter that back in Alta and then move on. Hopefully we didn't make a mistake along the way. It doesn't look like we did.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Who was that?
Dakota.
Okay, thanks, Dakota.
Yeah.
Sorry, my thing that's saying who's talking is like hidden somewhere on a screen, and I can't see. I can only see my whiteboard on my iPad screen, so it's tricky. I'll figure out voices in a while, but any others in there? Were there any even messier than that? Should we go back and look? I'm gonna go back to my desktop and I'm gonna switch us out to let's see, this one was this m equals 2? I want to get it right. The way it'll be happy with me. And we'll just continue. That looks very similar to the one Dakota just had, so I'm gonna cheat that one and submit. Oh, you know what though? That just reminded me of something. So I want to show you something really quickly. And I think I can do this. Let's do this in the chat, just because it's just a short little thing. So if you end up with an equation that's something like along the way you get down to the end and you're solving and it says 4 times a equals 0, what's the solution to that equation if you had 4a equals 0? Okay, thank you, Tirza. We'll do that one next. That looks like a good one. If you had 4 times something equals 0, what does the something have to be? 0, right? So a equals 0, and my point here is just to remember that that 0 is the number 2, and dividing 0 by 4 or any other number still gives you 0. It's only when you end up with something like 0x equals 10, that would mean no solution. So just keeping those straight to have those sort of. All right, so I'm going to jump over to my iPad again, and Tirza gave us another problem, so we'll just scroll up here. And it was, shoot, it's in my chat. Dang it, I should have written it first before I screen shared. And I didn't. I think I can still see the chat. Yes, I can. Okay, so the problem was, I don't want to write this all in red. It was 8a plus 2/5 minus 1 equals 10a minus 3/5. Okay, So again, first step, we need to know what the least common denominator is. So what is our least common denominator? In this case, it's our only denominator.
The equation was 8a plus 2 over 5. So it's not just a 2. It's the 8.
Oh, so he typed, okay, gotcha. See how that's really important? So what you're saying it was like this. 8a plus 2 is all over 5.
Yes.
And then a minus 1.
Mm-hmm.
And then is it the same with the 10a minus 3?
Yeah.
Okay, so 10a minus 3, thank you, all over 5. Thank you very much. Okay, so least common denominator is 5,
Mm-hmm.
and this one is no good. Okay, so we're going to multiply everything by 5. Now, if you like to sort of save space on your paper and you can keep track of things, another way to do this, so I'm going to go back up here and remind you, I wrote the 6 times everything and then wrote a 6 with each fraction. You could just sort of skip down to the next one right here in this line. So I've got to multiply this fraction by 5. I've got to multiply the number 1 by 5, and I need to multiply this fraction by 5. So this is another way to write your work. This is probably the way I would do this more often. It just kind of saves me a line. Notice it also puts the 5 directly in each of my fractions, so I'm not going to forget. And I notice that these 5s cancel, and these 5s cancel. And so nicely, I'm up to 8a plus 2 minus 5 equals 10a minus 3. And I think that this actually is very similar to the thing I just mentioned with the zeros. So you might look at this and say, oh, well, how can 8 times a number minus 3 be equal to 10 times a number minus 3? Well, this actually does work. It works that out that a equals, what's going to happen? Well, let's see. I'm going to add 3 to both sides. Oh, those went away. That's weird. 8 times a equals 10 times a. Can that happen? Only if a equals what? So minus 2a equals 0. That means a must equal, yeah, this is like that last one. 0 divided by anything else is 0. So yeah, that's one of those strange ones where there was a solution and it was 0. Let's do a quick check on that one. Remember, we can always check the solution to an equation by going back up to the original problem. And we're going to go back up to this very top. 8 times 0 plus 2 over 5 minus 1 equals, I'm going to put a question mark in here because I'm not sure I'm right, 10 times 0 minus 3 over 5. And if I simplify, I get 2/5 minus 1 equals negative 3/5. And yeah, that works. 2/5 minus 5/5 is negative 3/5. So the solution checks. And as with any equation, you can always check back in your original equation and make sure you were correct. So are those the kind you were looking for? And if so, do you have another one that's maybe a little bit different than that one? I am going to jot that one down though, because I have sort of a thought for us. I'm going to try this a little bit differently. So original problem was 8a plus 2 over 5 minus 1 equals 10a minus 3. 5. Okay. Okay, so a couple of you have also written notes to me about graphing calculators, and I've given some instruction on that. You can go out to Webbit.emu, and they have a free TI emulator. I'm not really certain that they have a good one for Macs, but I know that they have a good one for Windows machines. You can also check out if you would rather have an app than a calculator, you can also check out the App Store, because there are TI apps. Back in the spring and summer, they were offering them free. I don't think that they're free anymore, but there are TI apps for the TI-84 that work quite nicely. On the other hand, though, and we probably won't need those very much until later in the semester. On the other hand, though, and I think I saw a 90-day free trial on their website for their apps. So I think that was just right at maybe at education.ti.com. Who asked me that in an email? Can you remember if that's the right email address? Not sure. But you can also check out App Store and Google Play Store for other devices. However, remember this one, Desmos.com. Desmos is not Demos. Okay, thanks, autocorrect. Desmos.com is a nice app that is totally free, either web-based in a browser or iOS or Android, and super easy to use. So here it is, Desmos.com. Let's take a peek at it. I think we looked at that yesterday, didn't we? Or Monday, rather. Didn't we take a peek at Desmos?
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to show you, like, so one of the things that we'll do throughout the semester from time to time is look at graphical solutions. So we just solved this equation algebraically, and our solution in this last one was a = 0. In the one before, it was r = 1. So we've got all these equations that we just solved. And one thing that we can do is we can check, or we can actually solve sort of graphically. So here's what we're going to take a peek at. And I am going to switch out here, and we're going to go to Desmos. And this is good because I still have my chat, so I can still see those problems. And this is from another class earlier today. So we're going to go back to Tirza's question, which was this one with the decimals. It was -2.73 times m+4, that one. So if you want to solve graphically, one thing that you can do is you can graph the left side of the equation, 2.73. I do have to turn this into an x, 2.73x. Oops, parentheses, x plus 4. And then the right side of the equation was y equals -6x minus 4.38, -6x minus 4.38. And you don't see anything. Why not? Because I'm someplace really strange. There we go. I can kind of pinch and zoom. And so there are my two lines. And if you just want to change the window in Desmos, you can hit that little toolbar and you can type in whatever you want. So I could go, say, from, like, if I wanted to do -10 to 5, and maybe the y-axis from -5 to 10, I can do that. And actually, let's turn on projector mode so those are a little darker. And my solution on there, is that the problem we did? -6x Oh, there was supposed to be a negative 2.73. So see, I typed that in wrong. There we go. And our solution, now I'm way down here, is the point where those two graphs cross. And notice they cross when x equals 2 and y equals negative 16.38. And does that match up to our solution? We did have m equals 2 for that one, right? Notice that negative 16.38. If you plug in the x equals 2, so pointing right here, if you plug in the x equals 2, the y value you get for each of these equations is going to be that negative 16.38. So if you want to solve an equation graphically, you graph both equations and then you look for the intersection point. And this is something that is super easy to do in Desmos. It's reasonably easy on the TIs, but maybe not quite as simple as it is here. So that's just kind of a nice option, and show you the wrong. Let's see if my TI is on here. There we go. Okay, so this is the TI Inspire on the iPad. So it looks a little bit different from a TI on a regular screen, but it's got everything here that I need. So I want to go graph something. So I'm going to go in here to my functions, I think. Let me see, add graphs. Here we go. F1 of x. So my first equation, what was it? It was, and let's actually do a different one. Let's do that last one that Tirza gave us that was 8a plus 2 divided by 5. That was the left-hand side. Oops, I don't want that to be an A. So we're gonna, well, actually let me do a slider, but we're gonna see if we can edit that. No, come on. Graph entry edit function. Okay, well, it gave me a new one, but we still need to fix that first one. 10a minus 3, so 10x is what I should have typed, minus 3 over 5. And that other one needed a -1 anyway. So 5. Let's see if I hit enter. Enter, why are we not there? We are not behaving. Oh, there, get rid of my keyboard. And this thing is, okay, I've turned it off. I'm not sure what's going on here. Let's discard. And flip out, okay. See what I mean about usability? Some things are easier to use than others. Desmos is super easy. There are going to be some things later on that the TIs will be nicer for. So I just wanted to show you this for anybody who has one. Who's got an actual TI graphing calculator? I do. It's not in the room with me right now, but send me a quick yes if you have one. You don't have to say no if you don't. Actually, say no if you don't have one. A yes, and I do. A yes, a no. One no. Another I do. Another yes. Another no. Okay, so some quick notes. It's not an absolute must. So you will be able to get by with just Desmos and sort of online calculators. If you do want to get one though, because there will be a couple things later on, especially dealing with matrices, that will make things easier with the TIs. if you do want to get one, we do have a rental program at Delta. And normally you would go to the cashier's office and you would pay your rental fee. And then you would go to the library to pick them up. We just decided with all of the things going on this semester, it's just too difficult to do the extra steps. So we are just loaning them out for free. So there isn't a rental fee this semester. So if you do want to borrow a TI-84, you just need to just send me info on details. You can, essentially, you're just going to need to contact the library and go in with your student ID, and you'll be able to go in and pick it up and sign it out. And you do need a student ID to do this because checkout things from the library require a student ID. And if you don't have one, you can get one while you're at Delta just with any other picture ID. You just go down to campus safety and they do your picture ID for you, your Delta ID. So if anybody needs to do that, you can get a rental calculator from Delta, and they're perfectly fine. When I have my video set up a little bit better, we'll be able to see those good as well. I could also project those with my iPad and just use it as a doc cam. That would be easy enough. So, but I'll show you how those work. The calculators actually work simpler than the app does, and I probably just need to practice with that app. I have used the app on the computer, but not on the iPad, so it's a little bit different. Does anybody have any other questions? So you guys asked about the solving equations with fractions and such. Were there any others that you got to, that areas that were problematic? Get myself back to my chat. Yeah, we actually just quit here.
About the graphing calculators, does it
Yep.
TI-83 work, or does it have to be a TI-84?
No, TI-83 works perfectly well. It is almost the same calculator. They did a few tweaks, and for this class, there's essentially no difference.
Okay.
I think in other classes there might be like one thing that the 83 can't do or can't do quite as nicely, but for this class you'll be fine with the 80. Shining up at my funky light there. We should be just fine with the TI-83. They're essentially the same calculator. They cleaned some things up, but it's fine. It's sort of like one of those operating system upgrades where you just went from 10.1 to 10.2. And it's not really a complete upgrade, but they, got a couple bugs out or something. So any others? Get rid of that, it drives me crazy. I mean, I can keep doing problems, but I'm just making them up, and I'm just sort of picking and choosing, and I'm maybe guessing at what you guys want to see. But we could do, how about the percent change in interest applications? Did anybody get to those yet and have questions? Jenna, is that one you would like to see? The one you posted in the chat? I see you put a new one up. Okay, certainly. All right, so we'll flip out over here to sharing again. I usually go out because the whiteboard in inside Zoom isn't really the greatest. It's doable, but it's not always completely lovely. So we'll just get us back here. The other thing is that everything's in one spot now. Okay, and get myself back to my chat so I can see that problem. Okay, 1/6 times we're using Q for our variable. 1/6 times negative Q plus 1 equals -4 times -3Q plus 3. Okay, so again, you kind of have options, but my plan is always to get rid of the fractions first. So I would start by multiplying by the least common denominator, which is 6. That's just sort of how I like to work things. I like to get rid of the fractions first because they're really the most problematic. So left-hand side, I'm going to multiply by 6. Right-hand side, I'm going to multiply by 6. Notice that the left and right-hand sides, each in this form, only have one term because there are parentheses and we've got multiplication. So my 6's cancel. Nothing cancels over here. So I'm just going to write down my next step, and I've got 1 times -Q plus 1, but we know 1 times anything is just that thing. And then on the right-hand side, 6 times -4 is -24 times -3Q plus 3. So Jenna, did I find your mistake already? Just a quick question. Okay, so usually it's that first step. If you can get past that first step, notice at this point now we can just go ahead and distribute and then collect our like terms. 72Q minus 72, and it's gonna be kind of messy. I'm gonna do this a little bit differently this time. I'm gonna add Q to both sides. So I'm gonna put my Q's on the right-hand side, which is perfectly fine. And I have 1 equals 73Q minus 72. And then I'm gonna add 72 to both sides. Now, why did I go the opposite direction? Well, I like positive numbers better than negative numbers. I'm kind of lazy. I like that. I just like to sort of make things as simple as I can. And so in the end, Q is 1, and that should check out. I think if you plug it in on both sides of the equation, you're going to end up with 0 equals 0. So that should work. Any others in there that were maybe troublesome? Yeah, see if I missed any questions. I don't think I did. Okay, the D2L site has a link to help for TI calculators. So if you do have a TI calculator and you follow that link, TI has some info there where they will help you out with various things related to the calculator. And I will either set up, I will actually probably do both, a show and tell for both the app on the iPad and the physical calculator. I just have to set up a good .cam system so that I can show you the calculator a little bit better. So we'll do that next time when a few more people, if they're planning to get them, are able to get those calculators by next week. And remember, today is Wednesday. We do have Labor Day coming up, so I kind of hit the highlights, I think, pretty well for this week. So you're going to keep working in Alta. We are not going to meet on Friday. And Monday is Labor Day, so we're not going to meet on Monday. So the next time I'm going to see you is going to be next Wednesday. However, I will be close to my computer, so I'll be around for office hours in the morning from 9 to 10:30. And then I'll be around other times. So if you just want to hop on to office hours, you know, maybe a different time, just send me a note and we'll try to come up with something that works for us. Although from probably a Friday afternoon through Monday, I'm probably unlikely to do office hours on the holiday weekend. But certainly outside of that, I could get into Zoom and help you out if you ran into trouble and just wanted some extra help. Any other thoughts or questions? Because if not, I'm going to let you go out and get into Zoom and get doing some more work. And as you have questions, you can ask them. Everything is there for the semester. So if you're feeling really speedy and you get ahead and you get all the way done with chapter 1 and you want to do the chapter 1 test, you can do that. Just make sure you're sort of prepped and ready to go, so that you do well on it. When is chapter 1 due again? Saw on e-learning, but I closed the tab. Yeah, you know what? Let me share from here. Yes, I'm going to go here and we will go out to Newton and see. So chapter 1, and actually I have it's not chapter 1, first things, it's chapter 2, right? The first chapter. So the homework is actually due 9/6. But remember, if your homework is late, it's no big deal because there's no late penalty. And then the chapter 1 test is due, or the first assignments are due 9/6. The next sections are due the 13th, and then the test is due the 16th. So if I'm going to actually go this way because it'll give us, but I don't want to see students. I want to see assignments section. Okay. So there are all of our assignments. So there are those first like 6 are what are due on the 6th. But remember, if you don't get them done in time, you don't get a late penalty. You just have to finish them after that. And then the next group are due the 13th. And then that ends the stuff for chapter 2. And then the chapter 2 test, let's see here. So the chapter 2 test is due on the 16th. And there is a late penalty for the tests, and it's just 2% per day. So not very much, but a little bit of an encouragement to get them done on time. However, after a week, you can't do them. So you got to keep yourself up to date that way. You can slack a little bit on the homework, but you need to keep yourself up to date on the tests. Why are we? I'm gonna stop that shit. There we go. I got my stuff back. And I can get back to my chat. So the short answer to that is that the test over that first chapter is due on the 16th of September. The suggested homework dates are the 6th for the first 4 sections and then the 13th for the last 3 sections. Any other questions that I might have missed? Okay, I am going to end us. If anybody has questions, just shoot me an email or pop back onto Zoom if you need to do that, if you need some extra help on things. So I will talk to you later, and everybody have a great, safe, and healthy holiday weekend, and I will see you next week. Yep. Can't type.